Good night, class. And today we'll be doing POB Principles of Business. And our topic for today is the role of money. Now, as you may know, the development of money solved many of the problems of barter. When we talk of money today, we think of the coins and notes we use now. But money was not available in this form to the early humans. Other things was used instead of money. For example, shells, dog's teeth, grain, spearheads, hides, arrowheads. Now, they are the characteristics of money and the functions of money. A lot of students tend to mix up the characteristics of money and the functions of money. But one good way to remember what are the characteristics of money and what are the functions of money is to remember that there are 7 characteristics of money and there are 4 functions of money. So, I'm going to give you the characteristics of money. The characteristics of money are durable. It must be hand-wearing, able to last long. Divisible. It is possible to divide it into smaller units. Acceptable. People must agree to its use. Exchangeable. It can be exchanged for goods. Scarce. Its value is maintained when it's harder to acquire. Portable. It must be convenient to carry. Homogeneous. There must be a standardized appearance for all notes of a particular value. For example, all $10 notes must look the same. A $10 note should not look different from another $10 note. Okay, all $10 notes must look the same. Here in Trinidad, the $10 notes all look the same. The $100 notes all look the same. So, now they are the functions of money. Here are the functions of money, which would include a medium of exchange. Money makes the exchange of goods easier and makes barter unnecessary. A measure of value. Money can be used to state prices for goods. So, a measure of value, the function a measure of value, solves the problem of barter, which is an exchange rate. Remember, an exchange rate is where they had the issue of weighing their goods to say, okay, this is equal to this crate of eggs is equal to that loaf of bread. Well, by money being a measure of value, which is the function, it solved that problem. Now, money is also a store of value. Money can be saved, whereas goods often cannot, which is true. For example, if I had $100 bill, I can save it for a long time. But if I have to trade and use barter, let's say when having to do with meat or vegetables, it can spoil. And then last but not least, a standard for postponed payment. Money can be earned at one time and spent at another time. So if you have $100, you could keep that $100 for 6 years. But if it is you're doing the barter system, if someone says, okay, I have corn, and the next person say, well, I have a turkey, and the person who has the corn say, okay, whenever the corn are good, I'll give you in exchange for the turkey. But the person who had the turkey already killed the turkey and have it waiting, right? And when the person with the corn do get and harvest the corn to make the exchange, the turkey is spoiled. Why? Because it couldn't last long to make the exchange, to make the postponed payment. But if you had $100, you could have done that, right? So now we're going to talk about instruments of exchange and payment, which is barter. And then the rest following would be instruments of exchange and payment having to do with money, which would be bill of exchange. This is a document that is sometimes used in home trade, but is most commonly used in the settlement of international debts. Now, this bill of exchange is made by the seller, which is the person who is exporting the goods, the creditor. And on this bill, It will require that the buyer, the importer, also known as the debitor, pay a sum of money on demand or on an agreed future date, usually after 3 months. Then there's something called the EFT, electronic funds transfer. This is the electronic exchange or transfer of money without any paper money change in hands. This exchange can take place within a single financial institution or across multiple institutions such as banks and other financial service providers through computer-based systems. Now there's credit cards and debit cards. For those of you who don't know, when you have a debit card, the money that you have on your debit card can run out, right? So it's only how much you have on your debit card you could use. But on a credit card, you could like take a loan on it. For example, you could like continue paying with a credit card and you will have to pay back the money that you overuse. Okay? And also the credit card has a PIN called a personal identity number, which is used. And if there's no money in debit card, not enough money, the transaction will be rejected. Then there's a standing order, also known as a banker's order, a standing order. Now, you might think that you don't need to know this stuff, but I did POB, CXC, and a lot of these stuff come, right? And they come in a way that you didn't expect them to come. Well, I expected them to come that way, where you had to define, you had to know what is a credit card, what is a debit card, what is a standing order. If they ask you about a standing order, you should know that they're talking about a banker's order, right? And if they say what is a banker's order, you have to know that they are referring to standing order. So a standing order is a convenient way to make payments where a regular amount has to be paid. For example, regular monthly installments to repay a loan or hire purchase agreement. A standing order avoids the need to write out and post a check on a specific date of every month. The standing order avoids this possibility because the bank carries out the account holder's instructions and automatically makes the payment through EFT directly to the account to be paid on the precise date. Then there's e-commerce. This refers to the buying and selling of products and services through an electronic medium such as the internet. Then there's telebanking, short for telephone banking. This is a facility provided by banks that enables bank customers to use an appropriate type of telephone to access some service such as account balances, transfer of funds to another account, payment of bills, and making some inquiries about their accounts. Then there's checks. These are slips of paper that a bank customer fills out and signs to instruct the bank to do something with the money in the bank account. For example, pay money to another person or company. Then there's something called a money order. These are a printed order for payment of a specified sum and facilitated by a bank or post office. They are considered a safe form of payment where they are accepted by a seller or used by a buyer. A money order is similar to a check in its use in making payments. Money orders, however, are prepaid. They are only actioned after a buyer has paid for the money order, because the issuer, for example, a bank or post office, has already been paid. Money orders are guaranteed to be paid. Okay, so think about the check, right? You just need to sign on a paper and a slip, fill it out, and give the instructions, right? But a money order, when you go to the post office to do a money order, to pay somebody money, the amount that you pay any person is the amount you have to pay for the order. You're paying the post office the amount of money you want to send in. Then there's a bank draft. These are a form of check drawn on the issuing bank itself rather than the bank customer's bank account. This makes the bank draft as good as cash because the bank guaranteed it for the customer who has paid the value of the draft into the bank in advance. Bank drafts are commonly used by banks when they deal with each other, or when a creditor or seller is unwilling to accept an ordinary check from a debitor or buyer in another country. So bank drafts are not only used between banks, it is used when a seller is unwilling to accept any ordinary checks from a buyer from another country. Then there is a TT called the telegraphic money transfer. Use, it means to transfer. Today it operates through EFT. Western Union is an example of a worldwide company providing this kind of service. But there are many others, for example, post office. Telegraphic money transfers are used when the sender needs to send money, typically to an overseas destination, where someone at the destination is demanding a cash payment or someone needs cash somewhat urgently and in local destination currency. For example, someone in one country sending promptly needed money to a friend or relative in another country. Then there's M-Money, known as mobile wallet or M-Money. It is an app running on a mobile device, such as a smartphone, that lets users store, send and receive money instead of using cash or the plastic card. The user can pay safely using a mobile device. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something.